Greetings, beautiful people. Welcome to Coming Out Black's 31 Days to Business Startup for LGBT Entrepreneurs. Day 8, Business Life Cycle. Man, when I think about the business life cycle, and the reason why I really want to talk to you guys about it is because I think a lot of times as entrepreneurs and business owners, we have this tendency to kind of think either my business is happening or my business is not happening. And what I want you to understand is that what you may want to consider is where you are in your business life cycle. And so I'll just start from the beginning. There's what I call 5 general areas of the business life cycle. The first one is startup. The second one is growth. Then there's expansion, and then there's maturity, and then there's transition. And let's start with startup. Look, startup is one of those areas where you can be in startup for a while. And also one of the things I wanted to also mention about startup is that you could be going along, you're doing your business, and then all of a sudden things just kind of peter out and you think, oh, my business must be over. And no, what I want you to understand is that you're just still in startup. And what you got to do is, even when you get to those points, you got to kind of like, okay, what do I do next to kind of get things up and running again? And instead of thinking that, oh, I failed, just say, okay, I'm in startup, so I got to keep starting up. It's kind of like, unfortunately, I hate to use this analogy, but it's probably like a hoopty. You know how you start up a hoopty and it starts and then all of a sudden it kind of fiddles out and then you have to start up again and, and then you got to press all the gas and, and maybe, sometimes in our businesses, they're kind of like a hoopty. They kind of like need to be restarted over and over and over again. And the reality of the situation is that for businesses, I don't care how long a business has been in business, I don't care how many years, there will always be kind of what they call startup phases, because there are those moments in your business when you just kind of like got to scrap away. You got to start all over again. You kind of got to get clear because the world changes around you, things change, your business change, and sometimes you just got to go right. It is always good. You might have to go right back into a kind of startup mode. And so, but I will say this, startup generally happens for the first 3 to 5 years. Like, give yourself 3 to 5 years. After 5 years, they say if a business is not sustainable after 5 years, it probably won't be sustainable. I don't always think that is true, but it's a good, maybe timeline to consider. But like I said, if you find yourself, working on your business, and let's say if things go along for a year or two and then things peter out, don't feel like it's the end. Just feel like, okay, I just got to get back into startup mode, do what I need to be doing, and get this business off the ground and up and running. And then the second phase, type of life cycle phase, is growth. And this is how I define growth. And I've worked with a lot of different businesses. If you have an increase in your profit from year to year to year, you are growing. And you could be in startup phase and growing. So know that some of these kind of life cycle phases can overlap or be conjoined or happen simultaneously. But for me, growth for me is about the money, nothing else, just the money, the profits. If there is a continuation of profitability and it increases from year to year to year, then you're in the growth phase. And the bottom line is that every business wants to be in the growth phase. That is the whole goal of starting a business, right? Is to be growing and to making more profits. And then the next phase is expansion. And expansion can take on a lot of different things. And it varies. Maybe you decide to offer a new product or service. Or maybe you decide to franchise your business. Or maybe you're going to do something a little bit different than what you're doing, but in a bigger way. And so for me, expansion is that kind of shift and change in your business where you go from things occurring in a certain set amount, and now that kind of quantitatively grows. And that could take on a lot of different characteristics. You know what I mean? Um, and it will depend. And that, a lot of times that's dependent on your business. And so, um, but expansion is really about growth. And then the fourth area is what we call maturity. For me, maturity happens. I tend to believe that you need to be in business for at least 5 years to reach some level of maturity. Because maturity means that you've been doing this for a while. I would even say maybe 7 to 10 years, but maybe five. We live in a day and time where businesses kind of can mature quickly, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that we live in a world where things are ever changing. So for a business to even stick around for 5 years is pretty impressive. But what I wanted to focus on as it relates to maturity is that you kind of mastered what you do. You're good at it. You have brand loyalty. You have growth, right? In terms of profits. And this business, for the most part, is sustainable, meaning that if you continued your business doing it the way that you do it right now, if it's mature, then it's pretty sustainable, and it could stick around for a long time to come. And so maturity is just that level that you reach where you're like kind of you kind of can coast, so to speak. um, I don't know if really we live in a day and time where business maturity used to be a day and time when business maturity kind of guaranteed sustainability, but I don't know if that's always true nowadays because like I said, I mean, things change drastically from year to year nowadays, especially as it relates to technology. And so a lot of times you got to be responsive to technology in order for your business to even grow and make any money. So maturity is a level your business could reach. Is it part of the life cycle that you want to get to? Maybe. And if you can, that's great. If not, don't worry about it. It's not the most important phase of the business life cycle, but it is potentially an area that your business could grow into. And then the last kind of phase is what we call transition. And transition can do, I look at transitions as a couple of different things. It could be a merger or acquisition. It could be someone takes on, like there's a new owner. You started this business and you've been with it for 20, 25 years, whatever, and someone else takes it on. That's pretty transitional because your energy and vibe as it relates to the business is going to be different than this new owner's. Or transition could be that you decide to, close shop, take your little sign down and go on. Or or you could sell it off, which for me is kind of like merger acquisition. And so, what you want to do is consider where you are with your business and understand that your business does have a life cycle and that you want your business to undergo the life cycle. You want it to get to the point that it's mature and that you can sit by and watch your business grow on its own. And then at some point in time, everybody knows at some point in time we're all going to transition, right? Even as individuals, but also our businesses undergo transition. But more importantly, I just kind of want to make you aware of the life cycles because I want you to kind of remember that startup is the biggest part of your business life cycle, and to not give up. That maybe you're just in the startup phase for many, many years until you grow, until those profits increase. You're in startup, and to be all right with that. And that nowadays sometimes it takes several years, many years. It used to be 3 to 5, and now we're thinking more like 7 to 10. But that's okay. Because this is what you're supposed to be doing, and this is what you enjoy doing, this is what you love to do, and your business is important. So, I hope you get a little something out of that. Thank you once again for joining me. And as always, visit our website at www.comingoutblack.com. And oh yeah, I just always want to mention that starting in September, I'm going to be launching Coming Out Black's Business Academy, where I'm going to be offering business development online training courses, as well as one-on-one coaching for LGBT entrepreneurs. So once again, thank you for joining me. Take care of yourself, and peace and love.